era is the Terence Crawford era.
Tyrann got the best matchmakers. You ain't fought nobody, man. We gonna roll him up and smoke him. It's gonna be a one-sided ass whooping.
I know I can beat him. I feel I can beat him. I see myself beating him. You ever fought a champion that was two-way divisions, right?
All the titles I took from the champion. So what you saying?
I like to go fishing. Everybody know.
Man, that's cat. He not catching me with no fishing pole,
hey, listen.
man. What it look like catching Moby Dick with a fishing pole, man?
I got a big enough hook for him. I'm already reeling him in. I'm gonna put him on the bank, gut him, and I'm gonna fillet him.
We Jamaican, man. We smoke bud. So we gonna smoke your ass up.
It's that marinated bud that hit one puff, you might be seeing stars like how high.
He gonna go and stop that nonsense.
If he get out of line, I swear to God, he gonna be the number 11.
I've been getting out of line my whole life. He ain't catching me with no damn fishing pole. I'm flipping his whole boat. I'm sinking him.
Fish fillet.
Smoking on bud. Fish fillet. Trying to really put a hurting on him.
Somebody gonna break, and it ain't gonna be me.
Terence Crawford had an interview on The Breakfast Club. Bud Crawford is out here doing his media rounds, promoting this big fight this July 29th with Errol, the Truth, Big Fish Spence Jr. Terence Crawford's on The Breakfast Club, and as we know, these guys, they follow boxing, right? They may not be as hardcore as some of us guys here on YouTube, but Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy, they know what they're talking about to a degree when it comes to the sport of boxing. And yeah, they asked Terence Crawford some good questions.
What does that word inflated mean?
Well, listen, he can say all those type of things, but when you look at who I fought and who he fought, and you look at what I've done to him, it's no comparison.
Now, Terence Crawford here is talking about him and Errol Spence sharing the common opponents in Kell Brook and Sean Porter, right? And we saw how the fights played out for Errol Spence. Sean Porter landed 170 something punches on Errol Spence, while against Terence Crawford, Sean Porter was only able to land 79 punches on Terence Bud Crawford. End up stopping Sean Porter, dropped him 2 times in the fight, something that's never been done to Showtime Sean Porter, regardless of how you feel about Kenny Porter throwing in that towel. Kell Brook, well, Terence Crawford fought him some years later, right? Kell Brook had time to get everything together, had time to heal, rest. He came to that fight on a 3-fight winning streak. He said he was in the best shape of his life. He even lumped up Terence Crawford's eye, right? With some of the sharp, he seemed to have surprised Crawford with his hand speed in that fight, but Terence Crawford still got him out of there in the 4th round. 1-inch punch. Crazy, right? So when we talking about the common opponents between the two fighters, Terence Crawford handled Errol Spence's toughest fights better than Errol Spence handled them, regardless of when Crawford fought him. And you got to give Crawford the credit from the fact that he's this naturally smaller man. And the way he handled these guys was impressive, right?
What about dude from Lithuania? Do you feel like that was a knockdown?
No, I don't. I feel as if he pushed me. As you can see, soon as the ref said fight, I stepped right to him.
Now, the Mean Machine thing, this is one of the things, other than the Gamboa knockdown, that fans like to really, when you really do that good in combat sports, and fans tend to look for something. And this is one of the things that Terence Crawford is going to have the answer to, likely until he fights Errol Spence Jr. But the Mean Machine thing, right? Mean Machine caught Crawford. Crawford was fighting really aggressive. Caught Crawford. In my opinion, it was an official knockdown, but I don't sit here and argue with guys about it. If you want to say it was a knockdown, whatever, right? It's not in the record books. It's not official. Crawford officially has never been knocked down or knocked out in a fight.
He's very strong, explosive, good fighter, technical. That's a fight that you could say I wasn't listening to my coaches and my corner, and I was more emotional in that fight because I felt as if I had something to prove. I went in there looking for the knockout, so I didn't want to box. I didn't want to use my skill.
Yeah, and watching that fight live, I was like, what is Bud doing? Like, what is he doing? Like, why is he fighting this guy like this, right? Really aggressive, taking one to give one. Almost like he was really fighting like he was out to prove something. Mean Machine going into the fight was a strong guy, was a puncher. Most of his wins was by the way of knockout, Olympian, all this other stuff, right? But, Mean Machine was labeled a bum and everything else.
I just want to, fight. That's what happens when you go in there and fight the wrong fight.
What's gonna stop you from doing that this time?
You can't do that again.
Because I know you want to prove yourself. I know you want to knock Errol out.
You can't. He's big. He's naturally bigger than you. He's strong.
He's the big guy. He's the big bad wolf. I didn't heard it all. He's strong. He's this. He's that. He's this. That. So can he get hurt?
Yeah, he's a man. He's a human.
Okay.
Man.
So what's going to stop him from banging with me?
I'm not a coach or in your corner, but I wouldn't suggest you bang with him.
Now, that's been a thing also going into this fight was the size of Errol Spence, right? Everybody seemed to be banking on size is going to be the factor in this fight. Like a guy like Crawford with the skill set that we see from Terence Crawford, the skills and things that we've seen from Terence Crawford, like that won't be a factor as well. I don't necessarily believe size is going to be a factor for Terence Crawford in this fight. Why? Because naturally he's a strong guy. Two, Errol Spence has been cutting the weight for a long time. How strong is he? How good is his punch resistance still? He is not the same 26, 27-year-old Errol Spence Jr. that was in the welterweight division years ago. He's a 30-something-year-old man now, right? So one would imagine his punch resistance probably wouldn't be the same at this point. Also, you got to look at other factors. I mean, just because he's the bigger guy don't mean he's the better guy. Doesn't necessarily mean he's guaranteed to win. I mean, I remember years ago, Chad Dawson fought Andre Ward. I was a big Chad Dawson fan. I thought Chad Dawson, bad Chad, was going to go down there and beat SOG Ward. SOG Ward smoked him, right? SOG Ward also smoked Sergey Kovalev, the quote-unquote bigger guy. So size isn't always a factor, right? Especially when these guys pretty much fighting the same weight class, and Crawford grew into the welterweight division.
Why?
I think it's
trying to say he's not as powerful. What are you trying to say?
Right. What you trying to say?
What are you trying to say, Sean? You trying to say he's not as powerful?
I think he's as strong as Errol.
What?
How you know?
Say it clearly. I
mean, but let's be clear. Terence Crawford is amazing.
We know that.
What he does.
What you saying?
What I'm saying is, why do you view that, and how do you know?
I don't know.
What makes you think that?
Probably the size. I think the size. Yeah. I think it's. I don't know if you can hurt him. Is what I'm saying. Okay. I've seen you hurt people before. I don't know if you can hurt somebody his size.
Did he get hurt his last fight? Do you think I hit harder than his last opponent?
Yes.
Okay, case closed.
Yeah, but you got to get to him though.
So you saying this man can't get to him? Is that what you saying?
So he can't. He got to get to him. Charlemagne, the guy, has been. He's standing on this square for Errol Spence Jr. Winning this fight. You know, he just thinks the size is going to be a big factor. Now, people saying, looking at Crawford and Spence next to each other, Spence is naturally the bigger guy. However, Crawford is a guy right now that's really, really in shape right now. We even heard that from Gilly the Kid on the $1 Million Worth of Game interview, that he said Crawford looked like he was already in fight shape. So Crawford's already ready to go. He's just sharpening his tools and getting the game plan going, things of that nature, more than likely, right? Errol Spence Jr., well, he got to kind of get back into the groove of things altogether. And not to mention, he got to focus on making 147.
Do you have a rematch clause in the contract?
Yeah.
Are you going to exercise it?
Who?
No.
Charlemagne tried to catch Bud slipping.
Ain't no need. Ain't no need. He tried to be slick.
He tried to be slick. Hey, Terence Crawford out here doing his media rounds, man. Helping sell this fight. We haven't seen one from Errol Spence. I believe they said something about his flight got delayed or something, so he couldn't make it. But yeah, man, when Errol Spence decides to give an interview, we gonna also talk about that as well. But yeah, the size thing and everything else that people using for Errol Spence, I don't think that's gonna be enough. I strongly don't believe that that's gonna be enough to deal with a guy like Terence Crawford, who has a array of skills and array of things that he's doing. Not to mention he's experienced. And yeah, this is gonna be a tough fight, man. I can't wait to see it. But yeah, good interview from Bud Crawford. The Yordenis Ugas thing, I don't know, right? I don't know what's going on with the but what people really see in the whole using the Yordenis Ugas as a good testing gauge for Spence and Crawford. I don't think that's necessarily a good testing gauge for Spence and Crawford, especially considering, you know, there's videos of Ugas getting smoked But Shakur Stevenson is sparring. Like, you know, I mean, I'm not quite sure why people want to keep using Ugas. You know, you're only as good as your last fight, right? Ugas was Spence's last fight, but I don't think Ugas presents the style, just no. I don't think Ugas presents enough. Terence also talked about the Ugas fight. You know, Charlemagne God knew that Ugas beat Crawford in the amateur. Crawford said, "Man, I was an 18-year-old kid back then. I'm a 30-something-year-old man now. Totally different. I'm a man now. It's different, right? I mean, look at my career. Look at some of these other guys' careers. So yeah, Eugenio Ugas. I don't think that's a good testing gauge for both guys. Ugas kind of, as you can see, stands right in front of guys. Even in sparring, he's standing right in front of Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur Stevenson is the lightweight. He's having his way with Eugenio Ugas. So yeah, I don't think that's a good testing gauge for Spence and Crawford. I think that stylistically, Crawford just a more dynamic guy. You know, Errol Spence only has one way. Not too many guys have been able to deal with it up to this point. We're going to see if Terence Crawford is going to be the first guy to be able to deal with what Errol Spence brings to the ring. Like, subscribe, hot your boy. Peace out.